Hey everybody. So, as previously mentioned in our overview, we're going to really focus on the structure and function of the joints. And the best way to get that started is with really just this table right here. You could just read this on your own. However, I'm also going to have an opportunity right here where I'm just going to basically read it to you, but explain it in a little more detail, see if it helps out. So, with that said, joints have two classifications that they're basically placed under. We have the structural classification, which is based on its structure. What does it look like? And the functional, which is what does it do? How much does it move? Right? So that's what really we're going to focus on. Excuse me. So, structural classification, we have three structural classifications. Functional, same deal. So, let's start with the function first because we should talk about what are the joints actually going to do? What is their goal? How much do they want to move? And basically, where are we going to find them? So, to start off, we have the diarthroses, which are going to be the freely movable joints. These are the ones you're probably most familiar with. These are the joints that allow you to move. I don't know why that's special I could do from sitting in the seat. So these are going to be like our shoulder, our elbow, hands, feet, hip, yada yada. All the stuff you typically think of when you hear joints. So basically everything you're probably thinking about, like joints, what do you mean? It's anything you're probably thinking about already. The next one underneath are the amphiarthroses. These are going to be the slightly movable joints. So now you're thinking, wait, so some joints only move a little bit? Okay, I kind of figured that. These are going to be like the intervertebral discs that we have in our spine or in our vertebrae. We have our costal muscles. We have the pubic symphysis. This is the joint that's going to move ever so slightly during childbirth to allow the passage of the baby, as well as a joint in our forearm. Okay, so these are only a little bit of movement. The last one is going to be the synarthroses. These are going to be the joints that have little or no movement at all, which is where you're probably thinking to yourself, there are some joints that don't have any movement. This is where we have to think about it. Our skull. We have bones up in our skull. However, last I checked, I don't really want my skull to be moving around right now, right? As a baby coming through the womb, maybe, obviously, help me exit the area. But at the same time, right now, later in life, I want that solid. So these bones are going to attach via joints that are not going to move at all. These are the skull sutures. Another really common example of this could be like our teeth. So our teeth sockets, you don't want your teeth really moving around too much. So these are some examples of synarthroses. Those are the three functional classifications. Freely movable, slightly movable, not much movement at all. So with that said, let's look at the opposite side of this. What are the structural classifications that come along with this? Because if the function is to freely move, what kind of joints are going to freely move? These are known as synovial joints. Synovial joints are going to be the bones that are separated by a joint cavity. That's kind of gross, probably listening to it there. I didn't really think that through. So the point is, those are synovial joints. What's that popping? That is the synovial joint. These are all situations where you have a bone and a bone, not my fingers and pretend they're bones, right? And a little gap in the middle where there's a cavity. I'm trying so hard here. A little cavity that's filled with a fluid. This fluid's going to allow the bones to move back and forth. I'm struggling real hard here. We're doing it by hand, right? But this allows them to move freely without grinding against each other. Super, super, very, very, very important for any kind of joints that want to have free movement. These are going to be our, again, stuff you think about. Our shoulder, elbow, carpal joints, hips, so on and so forth. Freely movable. The in-between one, the amphiarthroses, the structural classification here is the cartilaginous joints. These bones are going to be held together by cartilage. So again, the epiphyses of our bones, epiphyseal plates, all right, of our long bones, our costal joints, pubic symphysis, all these same things. These are going to be cartilaginous joints. When in doubt, you can always look back at previous chapters that talked about cartilage. These are just bone to cartilage joints. And then lastly, we have our fibrous joints. These bones are going to be held together by the collagenous fibers that are going to extend from the matrix of the bone. So in other words, these are going to be held together by those fibers, all right, specifically collagen, right? And they're going to hold those bones together so they don't move really at all. And these are going to be, like we said before, skull, teeth, so on and so forth. So, summarizing. There are 3 ways you can move your muscles: freely, a little bit, not at all. Those are the functional classifications. Then we have the structural classifications. Same idea, but what's actually holding them together? We have synovial joints holding diarthrosine joints together, cartilaginous joints holding the amphiarthroses joints together, and then we have the fibrous joints holding the synarthrosis together. All right, so they all go hand in hand. Nothing changes on where you find them. They're the same situations, as you can see right here. It's just how do they move and what's actually holding them together. Take your time on this one just so you feel comfortable with it. Again, a lot of this may make sense. It's just adding those classifications into your vocabulary to fully understand how those joints work. Next videos are going to be talking about the different type of joints. So if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know.